Welcome back to our Spotlight series, and we have a very special Reconnect conference episode, a special episode where we're going to shine the light on the conference for this year with the amazing Seemin Suleri, who is joining us today. Welcome, Seemi.
Oh, thank you so much, Ellie. It's great to be back and talking about Reconnect once again. Last year as well, we sat down and we talked about it, and it was a great conversation. And really, we got amazing feedback from the people who watched it because they found it incredibly useful. So I'm really excited about sharing more about the conference, more about the event this year because we are going bigger and better.
I'm very excited to dive into what is in store this year. Bigger, better, and we're also really proud to be supporting Reconnect again for a second year. So thank you for that opportunity, Simi. But for those who maybe are new to Reconnect conference, they may have missed last episode. Could you share what the core mission is of the conference?
So let me start by a little bit of a history. In Dorset, we didn't have any tech conferences. And so it was kind of like an effort to bring sort of the tech leaders and great minds in the tech industry to Dorset and highlight some of the amazing businesses, the startups, the talent that we have locally here. So it was an effort to really showcase what Dorset has got to offer and bring in those tech experts to share their wisdom with the tech industry here and the community here. So it is a community interest company called Reconnect Events that basically runs this, and it is run all on voluntarily basis, and whatever we get out of this conference goes back into the community. But initially, we only started off by one Reconnect conference, which, as you remember and you supported last year in August, it was a small conference. It was the first time we went out there. Everything, not that much experience of running a conference, not really realizing how many things are involved when you do that. Not really a lot of volunteers, but, people like yourself and Equal IT's brand behind us, who really put their money there where their mouth is and gave us support not only throughout the campaign but also enabled us to build something and build awareness around what we were trying to achieve. And that is kind of the heart and soul of it, because a lot of these people from within Dorset and beyond, like yourselves, came together to bring something very meaningful. And I am sure that when you were in the room, you could feel it because people were finding those connections. People were finding that they were able to really find out something that was beyond like your average tech conference. It was a sense of belonging. And that is very important for us because what we want people to feel on the day is that, you might be any experience level coming from any part of the tech industry, business, or tech enabled business, but you belong there. We are here to welcome you. It is not, no judgment, no nothing. I remember last year, actually, our keynote speaker, Sally Gobble, if you remember, she was actually sat at the reception desk with me, handing the welcome lanyards to everyone, So it was very much everybody mucking in and doing everything, whatever they could do. And that gave it real identity. And so we built on that identity and we wanted to do something this year which helps us kind of enhance the message and take it to even a wider, more bigger audience.
Yes, I remember that last year, and I can also vouch for that feeling of genuinely like the belonging. It doesn't matter what your background is, what experience you have. If you have this common interest, which is building connections, learning, and being curious, then it's such a wonderful environment. It really, truly is. And just on organizing that event, and like you say, lessons learned, you can take things away from that. But reflecting back, what were maybe some of the biggest challenges that you personally came up against in getting the conference going, when it went live, the feeling afterwards, like just your own reflections from that experience?
Last year's conference taught us many things. One of the things was that you need more than two people to organize things. And this year around, we've actually made volunteer tickets available for free. So people who are able to, they're only limited numbers. So people who are able to volunteer a couple of hours of their time during the whole duration of the conference, they can get a free ticket, but for some doing some tasks, So they might be looking at looking after the reception desk for a couple of hours, or they might be sorting out the coffee, or they might be doing like a number of tasks that need to be done on the day. What we found was like, while there was like say a panel discussion happening, I was going out like dishing out the cakes and sometimes it wasn't sustainable because it was just like okay, and we wanted to make it bigger this year. So the idea was like last year we had about 85 between 85 and 90 people there. And one of the big things was we wanted to expand to even more, a bigger audience, and having even richer and bigger, diverse the audience that we had last time. Then, so the idea is that there are some the reflections we had to do. So one of the big things that we had to look at is the venue we had. So Bournemouth and Poole College were supporting us last year, and they were extremely generous, and we hosted the event there, and they sponsored us by providing us the venue. And this year round, we looked at some of the feedback that we had received, and it was like probably for over, let's say, 85 to 90 people, that would have been a bit too small for what we wanted to achieve. So we managed to get a bigger venue. And this is a huge change for us this year because we're going to AFC Bournemouth's home in the Vitality Stadium in Bournemouth. And that is able to cater to a much bigger audience. So we will have twice as many people in there. The other thing also is that last year we were new, nobody knew about us, so the ticket sales were, let's say, a challenge. And so just to convince people, so we had to have a lot of conversations around why it is a meaningful thing, what we are trying to do, why is this space important. And this year, we don't have to do that because we have our record to show. And therefore, the ticket sales were, we've now sold most of our tickets, even though, and we're already sold twice as many tickets as we had attendees last year. So we're already a lot bigger than we were. But the response has been absolutely amazing from the tech industry and the support we've had. So some of those reflections for us really helped us kind of shape this year. And for me personally, just making sure that I am not sort of overstretching myself so that I can also have an enjoyable day. And I'm creating a team of volunteers there. Mark Oliver, who's a good friend of mine, also joined hands, and he's a fantastic professional and really a great person to be on board with Reconnect.
That's brilliant that you are offering these volunteering opportunities too, because one thing I always say is sometimes, folks who are going to events, they might feel a little bit nervous in terms of starting conversations, going up to people that they don't know. But actually, volunteering at a conference is a really good way to kind of reclaim your power a little bit and have a bit more confidence because you have that role as volunteer and you can greet people and oh, I'm one of the volunteers here. Can I help you with anything? It's more of a conversation starter, right? And it can help a little bit to overcome that fear and those nerves. So it's a really great opportunity.
Absolutely. And I think that it also gives you sort of a sense of purpose, and how your contribution is adding to the event, right? So you are part of this thing which we are building all together. And the reason why we always say it's run by the community for the community is because whatever you add actually makes the whole even bigger and better. So we want people to be a part of it because they will really shape it. One of the things we've been able to do is this year we are partnering as a media partner with a couple of small agencies. And they're not, let's say, commercial agencies, they're actually content creators. So We have Just Pick One UK, who's a local content creator, and we are partnering with her because she knows Bournemouth, she knows Dorset a lot, and is very passionate about community work, and also a part of one of the Talk, which is a community based tech event, organizing that. And also, she produces some videos and coverage for that, So that was great to actually be able to give her a platform and for us as well to collaborate on that. And alongside, we're also partnering with Sam and Ray podcast. So now Sam and Ray are both alumni from Bournemouth University. And so it brings us back to the roots of Bournemouth and, this area in general, where we are doing a lot of collaboration. And on the day, we will have a little tiny podcast studio set up where they can do these podcasts with the tech experts and the attendees. There's a little bit of an edge to that as well. And I think we'll create some excitement and some fun on the day also.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interaction and the content piece is important because like you say, now you've done one event and you've got yourself out there a little bit more. The videos, the experiences, sharing that far and wide, it just continues to make people aware of what you're doing, why you exist, and can kind of for the folks who maybe aren't able to attend this time round, they can get a feel for what it's about. So they make sure they have it in their calendar for next year because I hope there will be a reconnect for next year too.
Absolutely, there will be.
Everyone, keep that in mind. Mark your calendars for next year. But there's some wonderful new additions this year. The podcast section, the content creation. What else is in store for Reconnect 2025?
So the biggest, I would say, the announcement and the honor for us is to host Kevlin Henney, who is a thought leader, consultant, and really great voice in the tech industry. And I think that for a tiny little small conference like ours, normally big speakers, international speakers like that, are rare. But he was very gracious with his time, and we are very, very excited that he will be joining us this year. So he's the opening keynote for the event, and he is again, a massive star performance there for us to start. So we are incredibly honored to be able to host him there. So that's our starting. We also have the closing keynote by Claudia, who is a lead machine learning engineer. And she is going to talk about agentic AI, which is a topic which is extremely relevant, and people are really concerned about how agentic AI is going to interact, what those interactions would mean, and how we can get more out of it, and where does it sit on the ethical side. So she's going to really shed light on that. So it's a very relevant topic, topic of our times, really. But it's not just that. The program is quite rich. We have, last year, I remember we had 3 keynotes and a few workshops, obviously, limited time and limited capacity. This year, we're taking over the Bournemouth, the AFC Bournemouth Vitality Stadium, the main event bits, which basically means that we have a lot of event rooms and conference space, which would enable us to run essentially different tracks. So we will have 2 workshops running side by side, and then a track of talks, which are also really incredibly amazing. We have everything from hands-on software architecture workshops to talking about engineering culture and now how to build human-centered cultures in engineering, also game development, also about software engineering from the perspective of a sitcom lover. And that's a very interesting one. I'm looking forward to that one as well. So people have taken like really interesting takes on different practices, different technologies, different areas. So it's an all encompassing day, which is not limited by one thing or one track. It is quite rich, and the people coming in will be able to sign up to what interests them. attend a workshop perhaps, and then come back to the main hall where they can attend all of these amazing talks. The talks are shorter in duration and the workshops are a bit longer. So they might decide to do one workshop or a couple of workshops in the day and then just go back to the main track where all of these talks are happening. So super exciting multi-track conference.
I love the fact that there's so much variety and there's something for everybody there. And like you say, if you miss one workshop maybe in the morning, will there be a repeat of that later on in the day too?
Yeah, so the workshops are repeated as well. Not all of them, but most of them. And the reason is that we allow people, because the workshops are more hands-on and much more detailed. So that means that you can't get like 100 people in a workshop. So the idea is that more people get a chance if the workshops are repeated.
That's really nice because sometimes at events you get FOMO, right? There's a talk that you want to listen to, but there's a workshop on at the same time, and it's like, oh, what do I choose? So the fact that you're doubling up is good.
Yeah, hopefully you'll get the chance, and we'll open up the registration to the workshops well in advance of the actual event. So if you fancy a workshop and it's got limited capacity, what we would recommend is to watch those emails and sign up for the workshop. So it kind of secures your spot there.
Sure. So keep an eye out for the emails. What's another piece of advice you can share for folks getting the most out of the experience, out of the day?
I would say, like I've always said, don't stay with the people you know. Actually, go and approach people because there are more people who are sort of in the same headspace as you than you realize. So, a lot of people would also be thinking, oh, can I actually go and talk to someone? And actually, you can. And you find that people are very welcoming and they are also wanting to make those connections. So, it might be that you have arrived with maybe a couple of colleagues that you know. And even if you're on your own, then make sure that you're just approaching people and talking to them. We are super welcoming, and I think that people are keen to share. That's why they're there. They're keen to share their experiences, they're keen to share their expertise. Otherwise, they won't be there in the first place. So, the first hurdle of thinking, oh, does this person really want to talk to me, is already gone because they're there because they want to talk. So, just keep that in mind and approach people and talk to them. So we have networking breaks. We have a long lunch break as well, where we'll go up to the restaurant and have lunch there. And so it's a full day with a lot of opportunities to meet these new and amazing people. And so, what my recommendation would be is to get out of your comfort zone a little bit, just take that step, talk. You never know. You might meet someone who can give you a brilliant idea that you haven't thought of. You might form a collaboration you never thought was possible. You might even open up an opportunity for yourself that you never thought possible. So there are lots of things that are there on the day, and I would like everybody to make the most of it.
It's very natural sometimes to feel nervous going into these spaces, especially if you're by yourself. But when you're in that environment, like you say, reclaim your power, just kind of take a deep breath and go up to somebody new and even just asking a question to begin with. Is this your first time at Reconnect? I saw it was last year. What if they say they went last year? Oh, great. What did you think? How was your experience? What are you hoping to get out of today? Um, is there a talk that you're excited about? What is it that you do? Any questions that you can ask someone about themselves, get them talking, and hopefully with that, the conversation will begin to flow a little bit more and you can just take a few deep breaths. But if you are very nervous, I personally find as well, like asking people more about them, about the person you're speaking with, is a very good way just to kind of break the ice.
Absolutely, and I think one of the things to just highlight is that 20% of all of our tickets go to educational institutes for free. Okay, so the staffs and the students of educational institutions that around Dorset are able to just contact us directly and then access those tickets. And we have already allocated quite a huge number of those to Bournemouth University and to staff and students, and it's open to other educational institutions as well. And the reason why we do this is because when you're a student, you might not be able to, one, afford a lot of things. I mean, the ticket price is very low in comparison to other conferences. However, you still might feel it's a barrier. So we want to have our full commitment towards inclusion of educational institutions as well as finding we have paid forward tickets, which basically means that if price is a barrier, we've already got fixed allocation tickets, which we offer for free to people who might not be able to otherwise afford. So the idea of it being community interest is that community is at the heart of it. And we want to also link the educational institutions with the tech industry and bring the brightest and the biggest minds of the tech industry in one room. So again, if you are a student, for example, of any university, or you want to come in on that day, you can either volunteer, so that's like an easy way, like Ellie mentioned, or you can also request a free ticket, and then you'll be able to gain the insights. And you might be in the beginning of your career, you want some advice, so you have more experienced people in the room. People might also say, oh, by the way, we'll be hiring in June or something like this. And then you can say, oh, actually, I'll be looking for work in that time. And then you might uncover some opportunity. So it really depends on the kind of conversation and the nature of the conversations you're having. So that's also an important part that we'd like to highlight.
That's really important. And also, I want to say that if you're someone who is actively looking for a job, who's going to be attending or interested in going, think about maybe some ways that you can stand out for the right reasons, like some out of the box type things that you could do, because you're going to have the opportunity here to meet with companies, meet with great people working in the tech industry and ecosystem. We're going to be there from Equal IT to answer all your questions on all things career, CV, interviewing, whatever that may be, come and find us too. But think about like if you've got a project or a portfolio, or can you bring something a little bit visual, a small little card, a QR code where someone can scan that and it takes them straight to your GitHub, or a portfolio online that you have, or a YouTube channel where you share content on tech that you're interested in or topics that you're interested in. Anything that you feel helps you stand out for the right reason. If you're also looking for a role, bring this along, prepare it, think about it, because that potentially could spark onto something later down the line. You just don't know.
We're expecting around 200 people there this year. This is the reason why, again, we wanted a bigger venue, which is much more suitable to cater to a wider audience, a bigger audience. Also have the whole of restaurant space there so that we are able to really do the lunch and stuff. So one of the feedbacks we got is that people found a little bit tighter in space because in terms of lunch times, break times. And this year we really kind of listened to that. So feedback is big for us, obviously, because we want to improve it for the community every year. And so the thing is, okay, how do we provide more spaces so people can interact more naturally? How do we make sure that the spaces for lunches and networking are bigger so that people can actually just, have the space to interact and have those conversations?
Well, you listen to the feedback. You've certainly leveled up in terms of the venue too. As a football fan myself, I'm really excited to be at the stadium. How was that for you, just as an organizer, finding a new venue and making that happen? What was that experience like?
We kind of realized very quickly in the sense that our ticket sales initially started slow and then really picked up all of a sudden. And we had to sort of reflect on whether we were able to cope with the demand or whether we shrink it and reduce the numbers or we actually go bigger. So we considered a number of different options. And really, the home of AFC Bournemouth came as a top thing because it is one of the iconic places in Bournemouth. It is sort of a pride for us as well as a local community. So why not? And I think that it's got a lot of like huge parking space available, really easily connected through public transport and central Bournemouth and back. It's not that far from central Bournemouth anyway. So all of those things added up. It's easy to find. You can park there easily for the whole day. The car parking space is enough for hundreds of people, so you wouldn't have a problem. Easy to find, easy to get to. And really, for us, it really meant that this was the space. And also, we found that for our sponsors, we wanted them to have some focus space. So there are some VIP rooms that we've been given that are dedicated to our sponsors. So you'll have not just a stand, but also some other space. So if somebody wanted more like a one-to-one interaction and discuss in detail, so you have sort of like that space to interact with them in much more depth. And so, yeah, overall, we also considered that this was a venue that is used for conferences often. So they have an experience within their team about organizing such events. So that really helps us because I think that whereas before we were doing all of the logistical and admin stuff ourselves, now we have the team of AFC Bournemouth Vitality Stadium with us, working on making this happen. So that all kind of really gives you a feeling of that, it's no longer, let's start it on a smaller thing. We proved that we were successful and now we're going kind of much bigger.
Love to hear it. Very, very excited. The countdown to the 4th of July is on. I know that the agenda is available online. I'm going to link it in the description box below. But what time does the day start, Simi, and what time are things going to be wrapped up?
The idea is that we are welcoming starting at 9 o'clock. The official program kicks off at 9:30, and we are going to make sure that when people are coming in the morning, we have some breakfast pastries, coffee, and stuff ready. So this is something extra we want to give to people, and I think that I mean, there will be availability of the doors would be open a little bit earlier. So if people were, let's say, commuting or something, and they want to get ahead of the traffic, they will be able to come in and register a little bit early. So please feel free from 8:30 onwards if people wanted to come. They can, and it kind of finishes all at 3:30, and with all of the closing and everything done by 5 o'clock. So it's sort of like your whole working day if you think about it. It's a Friday work day at Friday. So you just take the time off, come in and do a fantastic conference instead.
How can people sign up? How can they get a ticket?
So the easiest way to do it is to go to our website, reconnectconference.co.uk. It's a whole same standard website that we had before, and there is a agenda there, so you can have a look at what talks are in stores. The full agenda is published now, so you can have a look. You can also follow us on LinkedIn at Reconnect Conference, but the tickets are linked on the website. So the best way to find your space and go to that is through our website. If you want to get in touch with us to have any queries, or if you wanted to volunteer or something like that, then write to us at team@reconnectconference.co.uk. So that's the way to get in touch with us.
I'll put all of the information in the description box below as well. So if you are interested, get involved, reach out, volunteer if you feel that this could be an opportunity for you too, because you will grow so much as a person. And also, volunteering, not only is it great to get insights on the other side of how an event looks and being the face of an event, but also it's great to put on your CV to enhance your CV, your communication skills and everything that comes with it. So it's always a learning opportunity. Again, just from firsthand experience, I can totally, totally vouch at how Reconnect is a really wonderful experience. It really is. And I hope to see you all there this year too.
And we can't wait to welcome everyone to our beautiful AFC Bournemouth home, and to reconnect. And hopefully, like last year, you will see the passion, the energy, and the love that goes behind in this event. And we all put it together in our time volunteering. And there is so much energy and so much excitement. I can't wait to share with everyone.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really great. And I have one final question for you, Simi. And I feel like this is a hard question because there could be a few things. So feel free to reel off a few different things. What are you most excited about for this year's conference?
Well, I am always very excited about the interactions that people are going to have because that is invaluable. I believe in ripple effects. I believe in forming true connections with people because that is extremely important. When I started off in the tech industry, we didn't have those kind of opportunities, especially in Dorset. And I wanted to change that. And therefore, with this community interest company, this is exactly what we are trying to address. And I'm really glad that we will be able to provide the platform and then just let the magic happen. That's the most exciting part for me.
Let the magic happen. I am so here for that. Simi, I'm excited to see you July the 4th this year at the Reconnect conference. And yeah, thank you so much for your time. As always, it's an absolute pleasure to chat with you.
Fantastic. Lovely conversation, Ellie. Cannot wait to see you on July 4th.